Today's live is for people with pre-diabetes or people who are at high risk to develop diabetes type 2. Hi everyone, my name is Zippi. Now I'm a registered nurse and certified food addiction counselor, and I want to talk about the, I think, not discussed enough dangers of being at high risk for development of diabetes type 2 or pre-diabetic, especially if you are the type of person who you feel like you are on this sort of path that you understand is going in a bad direction. You know what you need to do, and yet you seem not to be able to change direction from that path. And if you are worried about that, you are absolutely right. There is definitely what to worry about. The problem with diabetes type 2 is by the time people start actually suffering from it, it is way too late. The damage has been done, and by then it is really quite extensive damage. Diabetes type 2 can rob you of your retirement age. You know, that age when finally you're supposed to be free and be able to do the things you love to do, like travel or do all kinds of, all those courses that you always wanted to do, and go visit friends and go out and do things. And all of a sudden people are like running from doctor to doctor, and then they have some kind of ulcer on their leg that doesn't go away, or their vision starts getting impaired, or their kidney function starts getting impaired. And that's already, or they have heart problems, then they start developing heart problems or problems with their feet, and they can't feel their feet properly. And by then, it is way too late to do something. The time to do something is exactly at the time that I am speaking about. If somebody, their blood work is starting to look like they're pre-diabetic, like maybe their fasting glucose is a little high, their HbA1c is maybe borderline, people who are at high risk to develop diabetes type 2, like people who have diabetes type 2 in their family, their parents have had it, or sisters or brothers, women who have polycystic ovarian syndrome, or who had diabetes when they are pregnant. They have a 50% chance of developing diabetes type 2 later on in age. So these are the people, and this is a huge portion of the population. Now here's the good news, because it can be reversed. That risk can be mitigated. You can get to a point where you are at the same risk as the regular population. You maybe even lower. And the way to do it is not with medication. Medication can be a very important part of treatment of diabetes type 2. I'm not knocking it. I'm a nurse. I come from the medical profession. But medication does not treat the problem at its source, because the source is the food. Now, just like the food can be really what is maybe making you stay on that path that you don't like, that you're worried about, that is like in the direction of developing diabetes type 2, well, then you can actually change that path and make it a path with food. Food can be what will make you sick, or food can be your medication, the most effective treatment there is. No prescriptions needed, no side effects needed. No, you don't need to even spend a lot of money. And it's things that you can get in the supermarket. But you have to see the food as your treatment and not just going to the doctor. And I really, really recommend to people who are pre-diabetic or at high risk for diabetes type 2, if they've never done it before, or if they feel like, especially like, they either they don't know what to do properly, or they know what to do, but they find themselves not being able to apply that knowledge to actually do it, go on a 90-day sugar detox. Just get all sugars and flours and starches and what I call crappy carbs, right? And hyper-processed food. Stop eating it completely. Zero, none, for 90 days, 3 months. Why 3 months? 90 days, first of all, you will learn during those 90 days, you will absolutely be shocked at how much foods maybe that you're eating, but how much foods that are considered normal foods actually have sugars and starches and are hyper-processed. The other thing that is amazing is that you'll actually understand what it feels like to eat real food. Human beings ate real food until 100 years ago. And then when the industrial age started becoming, and processed food started becoming a big part of our food supply, but also our food culture. Like there's no such thing as not having cake when there's a celebration, or not having dessert, or like, if somebody brought something and made something special, you have to have it. So I'm saying for 90 days, let's put that aside. For 90 days, eat real food. Only real food that God and Mother Nature intended us to eat, that human beings have been eating for the past 10,000 years, right? Vegetables, fruits, proteins from animal sources like meat, chicken, eggs, butter, fats from natural sources like coconut butter and avocado and olive oil and unprocessed oils. For 90 days, try it, right? Or as little as possible of these unprocessed oils. I don't know if it's, unfortunately, I don't know if it's actually 100%, but this is actually what I would say to you, right? Eat legumes, beans, and food that is minimally processed for 90 days. Now, what will happen is, first of all, you'll understand how many foods maybe that perhaps you are eating and you think that are actually real food are highly processed and have starches and sugars. But the other thing is, after 90 days of not eating sugar and flour and processed foods, you start feeling amazing. Now, maybe a lot of people after the 90 days will choose to go back, but then maybe at least you can know and limit the amounts for people who can eat in moderation. And then there are people who after those 90 days come to realize that moderation doesn't work for them, but abstinence does. And then they continue to abstain for the rest of their lives. And that, if you learn to actually moderate what real moderation is, and you learn, or people who can't moderate, learn to abstain, even if there are sometimes lapses or whatever, it definitely takes you from that path of getting worse and worse and starting medications and more medications and more medications until it's like insulin and then complications and God forbid, to this path of health and vitality and feeling good and knowing that you are doing the absolute most to guarantee a healthy, vibrant life. Tell me what you think about this. How do you feel about going on a sugar detox for 90 days? Now, if you're thinking of going on a sugar detox, but you wouldn't know where to start, I have the Sugar Detox Starter Kit here for the crazy price of $19.99 that you can get in the links below. If this is on Facebook, then it's in the comments links. And watch my YouTube. Sign up to my YouTube channel. You will get lots and lots of great free information how to live sugar-free. And of course, I am available now. A few slots have opened up for personal coaching. You can write to me. I will put a link to sign up here if you would like to schedule a Zoom call where we can see how I can help you. And I will see you next week on our Monday Zippi Live.